All right, good afternoon, folks. Thanks for joining over here. Today we're going to be talking about how you can take your SharePoint Framework investments and bring them into Microsoft Teams. It's a really exciting topic. We have some announcements here at Ignite, and glad you guys could join us. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Larry Jin. I'm a program manager for Microsoft Teams. I've been working on the product for close to 3 years now, actually. With me are Victor and Suzanne. Suzanne is from Cognizant and Victor is from Avanade, and they're going to be demoing a couple of real solutions that are actually going to be taking advantage of these developer platform investments. Don't mind them, they might be trying to finish the demo setup over here, trying to get the credentials logged in, but I'm going to be speaking for a few minutes. So we're going to start off talking about some of the objectives and takeaways. So really, for you guys to get just a taste of how we're starting to bring together the SharePoint framework and Microsoft Teams developer extensibility platform, and how you can start taking advantage of your existing SPFX investments and bring those into Teams. And then really kind of the key takeaway is to get ready and start thinking about how you can bring your web parts and bring those existing solutions into Microsoft Teams. So first off, kind of comparing and contrasting the two platforms in Office 365. For those familiar with SharePoint Framework, the ability to build these full trust rich applications, modern applications with HTML, JavaScript, and to deploy and host those in SharePoint. And you get access to, of course, the Graph API and the SharePoint APIs. On the other side, we have, obviously a relatively new offering within Office 365, Microsoft Teams extensibility. So with Teams, for those that are aware of the product and its capabilities, you have the ability to connect chatbots, the ability to host your content in what's known as tabs, and have users collaborate around those. As we think about what that means for end users, IT administrators, and developers, there's really kind of these common needs across both platforms, right? At the end of the day, the end user, whether you're interacting with a web part or content in SharePoint or in Teams, you're collaborating around organizational content, some line of business application, a dashboard, a report, a widget. And so it's a very common use case and makes a lot of sense to be able to have that interaction with those line of business experiences in both SharePoint and in Teams, whether it's in a page or in a channel conversation. From an administrative perspective, the ability to publish those solutions in kind of a consistent way, manage them across both of these from a governance and deployment standpoint. And then lastly, from a developer standpoint, we're trying to reduce the number of platforms that you have to think about when you build for Office 365. That really is the goal of this. How do you have a consistent hosted experience and runtime model for bringing embedded content into both SharePoint and in Teams? So kind of reiterating some of the points that we talked about here. And really this is the model that we're striving for. And this is what we're starting putting out into developer preview at Ignite this year, which is take your existing, let me step back. Having a consistent runtime for hosted experiences with two different models. One is what we call the O365 hosted model. So this is deploy your code in SharePoint, right, using the SharePoint framework, having it hosted in SharePoint. The other model is provider hosted. So if you're building a tab for Teams, you might host your code in Azure or some other cloud host, and that's kind of the provider hosted model. And what we're doing is we're bridging, whether you're choosing one or the other, you're going to be able to deploy that experience into both SharePoint and Teams without having to write different code, without having to rebuild that solution for those two different canvases. And as I mentioned, these are going to be coming to developer preview very, very soon. We've got some final kinks to work out, but you should start seeing this on the SharePoint side with the next release, I believe, is 1.7. And then for Teams, it's going to be available in developer preview as well. Today, we're going to focus on the box on the left, which is, again, taking your existing SPFX investments, bringing those into Teams. So a lot of customers who are onboarding Teams have significant investment in SharePoint already with custom web parts, with pages that they've created, very custom document libraries. And so it makes a lot of sense to be able to bring those into Teams without having to rebuild them from scratch. We have a lot of partners and SIs and services who have also built these solutions for their customers on the SharePoint side and also built custom workflows for provisioning, manageability. And so again, enabling you to bring a lot of that existing tech over to Teams for this really fast growing new set of users and customers over on the Teams side. So the way that we kind of want to think about it is when you bring your solution into Teams, really it's going to be taking that web part and manifesting that as a tab experience inside of Teams. So we're going to be showing a couple of examples of that in just a second. This is just a quick screenshot of what that basically looks like. So you can see here, this is kind of your standard web part that you have using the SharePoint framework. It might be, custom document library. It might be a widget, or it might be a dashboard or report. And then basically representing that in a very consistent manner in Teams as well as a tab that end users can pin within their channels. And so at this point, actually, we'll switch over to Suzanne from Cognizant, who's going to show a couple of examples of how they're using this tech to actually start lighting up new value for their customers.
Thank you. So one of the things that we
get the mic on.
Out there
is that, yeah, it's displaying. I don't know if the mic is on though.
Yeah. Is it on?
Nope.
Okay, I'll talk loud. How about that?
I'll just see. Microphone.
Sorry. So one of the things that Larry was talking about was using your reusable assets, and that is super important. And one of the things that we want to emphasize in this session is talking about coding wherever you are, taking whatever assets that you already have built and allowing them and externalizing them through Teams. You can take all of the investments, all of the things wherever you code and bring them right into Teams. So in this particular demo, I'm going to give you a flash guide through a whole bunch of different integrations that Teams will allow you to do using what I call a user story. Right? We're going to walk you through a day in the life of a person with Teams. Here I am, I'm day number 1. I've just started and I'm super excited and I want to create my own team. I have a bot here that uses Azure Functions. It uses the AI Cognitive. It says, hey, let me give you some suggestions around Teams. It allows you to govern the teams, making sure that you don't have that SharePoint sprawl, for those of you who know a lot about SharePoint. So I can use Teams, bots, Azure Functions, all that stuff to sort of manage and govern my team. Once it's created, I can use the P&P site scripts and the P&P provisioning bots to create my team, which is here. So it can do things like go ahead and setting up tabs. I have a list here that has managed metadata. I have a list that do different project tasks. You could have it automatically set lists to have different color coding all within the SharePoint Framework extensions. So you can say, hey, these are yellow, these are red, these are green, all natively built in using all of the normal provisioning per scripts that you may already have as part of your site. So let's say I wanted to build a project site because I'm a project team member and I want to say these are the default things that I want to use. I can use all of that together. The next thing we might want to do is if I were a user, I might decide that I need to change my role from a developer over to a project manager. Right now, it's very difficult in some cases to try to see all of the teams that I have access to and change my access over to something else. Enter SharePoint Framework and all of the APIs that we have built in, right integrated into Teams. I use all of my native elements, such as People Picker. I didn't have to do a lot of work here to find my teams that I have access to. And then now I can say, oh, I want to become a manager. So I can click a button here, just as if I were in SharePoint Online or SharePoint in premise. Click the search button. Oops, give it a minute. And I may want to delegate all of my teams to someone, but I'll say apply. And what this is going to do is it will actually, behind the scenes, change all of my teams and find all of my teams that were part of my developer profile, move them over to the new manager profile, and then again, if I become an ex-employee or I move out of the group entirely, I can be removed from all of my teams. I may also have applications where I want to hire new team members to our organization or our team. This is another SharePoint Framework look about how you might want to integrate that. And to talk a little bit more about what happens behind the scenes, I want to have Victor to come over and give his demo.
Yeah, sure. Let's see some code here. So what we just seen, Larry introduced the concept of having SharePoint Framework web parts essentially in Microsoft Teams, and we saw some examples of it here. So I'm going to jump over to my nice SharePoint site here, which is an empty page now, and I created a web part. So let's add that web part to this page, and let's see what happens. It's a very classic standard web part that shows calendar events. So let's find my calendar events, adding it to the page, and of course, it's a calendar web part. I need to configure it, just as you do with every kind of SharePoint web part. Configure what list I want to get the events from. So we choose the Ignite sessions, and we should, in a second, see our web part render here. And I'm actually using the adaptive cards to render it. It will take a few seconds using the Microsoft Graph, and I'm using even the SharePoint REST endpoints to get this data. But I'm showing everything here, and you can see it's a button here that can add the events to Outlook using Microsoft Graph. So, but this team site, it's group connected, but it's not connected to the Microsoft team yet. So let's connect this to a team by going in here, join or create team, create a new team, and I create it from an existing Office 365 group. And I choose, this is weird. We're in mixed tenants here. Why? So this is in different tenants. Yeah. I need to sign in and sign out, otherwise the demo is really weird. Let's see if I can remember all the credentials.
Yeah, so actually while we're doing this, what we can do is
switch over to that.
Chat a little bit about kind of how this is going to work. So with the examples that you guys saw, so basically what's happening is that you're still kind of using the standard SharePoint framework, you're using the Yeoman generator, create your project, write your code, publish that SharePoint framework package up to your SharePoint tenant-wide site collection, tenant-wide app collection. And then what you're going to do is basically take that existing Yeoman project, and then the tool can actually now spit out the Teams app package. You take the Teams app package and then deploy that into Microsoft Teams, and then as an end user, they can then go start to pin that web part, pin that component or that piece of that page in any channel, any conversation, exactly the same way that they would set up a web part on a page in SharePoint. So really, bringing over that exact experience. The other aspect I'll mention is that of course, you're still able to access the same Graph APIs, the same SharePoint APIs. You get authentication already built in using SPFX. But when you bring it into Teams, we also feed through the host context. So there's additional context coming through Teams, like what channel the user is currently in, theme information, the fact that it is coming from Teams. So one of the things that Victor will show, if we can switch over.
It's over now, so let's show. Here's the Ignite demo site that was group
flip
connected.
It over to,
okay, 6, cool. You can see, right? Cool. And just enable Teams for this group. Take you a few seconds. Then hopefully sign in works good this time. So we can just reload the page in SharePoint again and see what happens. So now this web part is actually aware of that this group or a team site has connected Teams behind it. So we should see another feature on it here right now, which will load. Conference Wi-Fi. So you can see now there's another button here that actually, so I can comment on this event. And what I'm doing here, even reading the data channels that's in that team. So if I go into even Microsoft Teams here and add another channel to that, that will come up. But I can also add this web part to a team that I've already done here. So if I just add a new web part, go in here, and I actually deployed this SharePoint framework into Microsoft Teams, so I can choose from it here as tabs. I add that one. And you will see this exact same experience as you configure a web part on a SharePoint page here. We load up the settings for you. You choose a list, just as normal. This is, of course, this is another team I'm showing it in now, so we see different events, just showing the concept. But the idea here is that you use the same kind of editing techniques and same kind of property panes as you do in SharePoint. You don't have to do anything extra to do this. And I click Save, and it will take a few seconds, and we will see this is, unfortunately, another site, but the same kind of thing here. The thing I want to show you is, since it's aware of, it's actually in a channel now. When I do comment, that the channel selector is removed. So I can adapt my web port to understand, first of all, is a team available, or am I in a SharePoint site where we don't have the channel concept, or am I in a channel where the channel concept exists? And all this code actually exists on GitHub, so you can go to askvictor.com/spfx in Teams and take a look at all the code. It is preview code. It might not look like that when it's being shipped. But I want to show you one important thing for all you SharePoint developers. So if we go into SPFX, so it's two projects in here, one for Microsoft Teams, which just bundles the reference to the web part that you upload to Teams, and this normal SharePoint Framework project. So I'll go into Source, to my calendar web part, and take a look at that one. If we scroll down a bit here, we will actually see, let's see, I have a lot of definitions. But I have a couple of things. You can see I'm using the SPHTTP client to call the calendar. But if you take a look at the action here, I'm using the adaptive cards and the actions in those. And depending on if I'm in SharePoint or in Teams, I know that I have the channel concept. So I can actually see here, I made the helper function. Is this in Teams? If so, I'm just going to use this context, page context, .teams. So if you're in a channel and as a tab, the SharePoint Framework actually adds the Teams context to your page context on that. So you can just use it as any kind of metadata that you get otherwise in SharePoint Framework. And that's the key to sorting out where you are, etc. And I said, askvictor.com/SPFX in Teams, and you can go and dig into the details of this. There's a lot of other code in here. I'm also trying to adapt a little bit of the rendering, whether I'm in Teams or in SharePoint. It might be different kind of views. As you know, in Teams, we have a full width tab that we can use, and in SharePoint, it's sometimes a smaller web part.
Great. You mind flipping back to 5 there? So for those that are interested in learning a little bit more about either of these topics, most of the sessions have already happened, but there was a great session yesterday about the SharePoint framework overall, some of the new capabilities, and a lot of what we covered here today in more depth. There are a number of Teams specific sessions as well. I did one yesterday about kind of a deep dive on the Teams platform. So for those interested in seeing how you can add other capabilities like bots and cards and connectors, you can check out a couple of those sessions on that list. So I want to thank everyone for stopping by. We'll be here for a couple more minutes if you want to ask us any questions.